A man was kissing his wife when a nearby thug unexpectedly captured the moment on camera. When the man noticed, he immediately tried to stop him, hoping the thug would delete the photo, but the thug refused. With no other choice, the man stepped forward to reason with him. However, instead of settling the matter, the thug and his gang posted the video on social media. The man's wife, afraid that Jack would get into a fight, urged him to let it go, but Jack just stood there, silently staring at them. His wife nervously watched the situation unfold. The next second, the thug poured a drink over Jack's head, igniting the fire of rage inside him. Even after suffering such humiliation, Jack ultimately chose to back down. It wasn't because he was afraid, he was once a top assassin, but because he wanted to stay out of trouble. Since he had retired from that life, all he wanted now was to be a good husband and father. But what Jack didn't know was that his retreat wouldn't bring peace. The next morning, Jack took his young son to the supermarket. As soon as he opened the fridge, a stranger, an African-American man, approached him. Jack instantly sensed something was wrong, and sure enough, the man attacked him. Jack quickly flipped himself up from the ground and stood tall. He told the man to at least let him put his child down first, but the attacker didn't listen and came at Jack again. Jack had no choice but to fight back while keeping his son safe. Despite being distracted, Jack still held his own, leaving his opponent unable to gain the upper hand. The nearby shoppers were stunned by Jack's skills. To them, he had always been a mild-mannered man. They never expected him to be so formidable. After taking down the attacker, Jack picked up a pack of diapers, left the cashier bewildered, and walked out of the supermarket with ease. He then sped home, executing a perfect drift to park in front of his house. His neighbor stood frozen in shock. Jack gave him a brief nod before rushing inside. Placing his son down, Jack went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and headed to the staircase. He scraped off the paint from the wall, revealing a small black hole. Pressing a hidden button, a wooden panel slid open. Inside, Jack retrieved a black cloth bag filled with weapons and several passports. But when he checked, the passports had all expired. With no other choice, Jack pulled out 2 stacks of vacuum-sealed cash, then dialed his old friend, Carl. Carl was shocked to hear that Jack was still alive, but Jack didn't have time to explain. He needed Carl's help to get new identities for himself, his wife, and their 3 children. Jack offered $500,000, hoping Carl could also buy his wife a spot in a retirement community. After hanging up, Jack took his son downstairs. He glanced at the home they had lived in for so long before heading to the rehab center to find his wife. When he told her they were going on a vacation to Las Vegas, she was completely shocked. But Jack assured her this trip had been planned for a long time. When Jack noticed an off-road vehicle parked downstairs, he told his wife they needed to leave immediately before they got caught in traffic. The family got into the car and set off. As they reached the parking lot exit, Jack spotted the same black car from before. Inside, men stared at them with cold, piercing eyes. Just then, a bus drove by. By the time it passed, Jack's family had vanished from sight. Realizing Jack had disappeared, the men immediately drove into the parking lot to search for him. But as soon as they left, Jack floored the gas pedal and sped away. They thought they had successfully shaken off their pursuers. But in the next moment, the black car suddenly reappeared behind them, accelerating rapidly. Seeing the enemy closing in, Jack swiftly turned the steering wheel, diverting onto a side road. In that place, but faced with relentless killers, Jack decided to lead his family to the used car dealership where he worked. As soon as they arrived, the iron gate blocked their pursuers. Jack pulled into the repair bay, quickly lifting the car and making up an excuse about needing an oil change. At that moment, the black off-road vehicle entered the shop. While inspecting the underside of the car, Jack discovered a tracker stuck to the fuel tank. He ripped it off and hid behind a workbench before the enemies spotted him. Once the black car left, Jack rushed to the parking lot and saw a colleague about to test drive a car. Seizing the opportunity, Jack discreetly stuck the tracker to the wheel well of the test vehicle. The colleague unknowingly sped off. The assassins, watching through surveillance, saw the tracker moving and immediately took off in pursuit. Once they were gone, Jack and his family got back on the road to Las Vegas. The scenery along the way was breathtaking. His wife decided to take photos and post them online. Jack's kids reluctantly handed over their phones as he threw his wife's phone off a 100-meter-high bridge. Everyone was stunned. Jack explained that he did it to strengthen family bonds. Not wanting to ruin the mood, the kids eventually accepted it and even sang a song with their father. Meanwhile, Carl's contact, McCaffrey, had arrived at Jack's home. Seeing a family portrait on the wall, he smashed it to pieces. He ordered his men to track down Jack's family, but their hacker found no useful traces on social media. Jack had shut off all their devices. Their only option now was to find the van they were traveling in. As night fell, Jack's family was fast asleep, but he remained alert, focused on driving. Then he spotted a group of people on a bridge ahead. Jack knew they had been exposed. Within seconds, assassins on motorcycles started chasing them. Glancing at his wife and kids, Jack connected their headphones to the car's speakers, cranked up the volume, and reached for his gun. Attaching a silencer, he floored the gas pedal, leading their pursuers onto the highway. As the assassins closed in, Jack took one out with a precise shot. Another assassin pulled up beside him, ready to fire, only for Jack to slam him off his bike. In the struggle, Jack's gun fell to the ground. He reached for it, but couldn't find it. At that moment, his young son handed him a baby bottle. The last assassin was closing in fast. Without hesitation, Jack swerved, causing the killer's motorcycle to spiral out of control. With all threats eliminated, Jack's wife woke up. He calmly reassured her that they had just hit a small bump. She didn't suspect anything, as they were already near their daughter's future university. The family decided to visit the campus. But as they explored the school, Jack noticed a large man carrying a briefcase. Mistaking him for an enemy, Jack grabbed him, demanding to see what was inside. To his surprise, the case was filled with plant seeds. At that moment, another armed man appeared from behind. Jack hurled the entire briefcase at him and escaped into a nearby room. The assassin followed, gun in hand. But before he could react, Jack struck from the shadows, disarming and subduing him. After an intense fight, Jack finally knocked him out. Then he and his family continued toward Las Vegas. Please show some love by subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell for more updates.